Hi everyone, Linda Basso here. Do you ever have trouble figuring out just what you should be doing in your marketing? I mean, maybe you're doing fine in one area of your marketing, but then you have a new product or a new service or something new to promote, and bam, you are right back to figuring it out. Okay, this is such a common need for entrepreneurs that I've actually created a guide for you to do just this. And stay tuned to the end because I think you're going to be surprised at one step that means the difference between marketing success and marketing failure. Okay, so in my last video, I talked about Marie Forleo's Everything is Figureoutable. That's her new book, and I'm so excited. And it definitely applies to your marketing, okay? So that truth be told, there is nothing about marketing your business that can't be figured out, even if sometimes it totally feels like that. Right? So there's no situation, no circumstance, no amount of like inner flaw that somehow only you have that makes your marketing, say not figure outable. It doesn't make your, there's nothing that could make your marketing mysterious or unfigure outable. Okay. So if you want a refresher, go back and watch that video or go check it out on my website, lindabasso.com, as a blog. Here I dive into the 4 steps that help you do the figuring. Okay, so these are the steps to take to find your particular answer. They're sort of like the building blocks to getting what works best for you. This is the strategic approach versus the try the first thing that floats by you or chasing every shiny object approach that you may have used in the past. Okay, so step 1 is to gather. Okay, this means doing some research. So every industry and style of business has best practices and types of marketing that are working for others that are ahead of you. Okay, so this is not having a few casual conversations with various people who are like, oh, well, I heard or I read, that's not what this is about. This is talking to other business owners who are in a similar type of business, both in your industry and those who are not in your industry but have a similar model or a style of business, but they're in other industries. Okay, it's also about looking at those really big players in your industry and reading or listening to interviews about how they got started. Okay, not what they're doing today in their ginormous 7-figure business. That's usually not that helpful for you. But listening to how they got started, what did they have to go through? What did they do? Right? It's about having strategy sessions with marketing professionals or business coaches and consultants like me. And it's about Googling and reading a ton of articles. Though I want you to be specific, because if you Google best marketing, you're going to get too broad of a result. But let's say if you Google best marketing for hairstylist or for massage therapist, and you're going to get more specific results. Right? So you don't want to go down rabbit holes here or like grab onto that first approach that you read about at this point in the process. You are only looking to create some understanding for yourself about what all your options are and gathering enough information to begin sorting through. Right? You're also going to want to list things that you've done that have worked in your business and those things you've done that have not worked so far in your business. Now you should kind of toss these into the mix a little bit lightly though, because maybe you were spaghetti shooting your efforts before this, or maybe you didn't really enact one all that well, or maybe you were too attached to a particular effort and it's not considered a best practice anymore. So you want that knowledge, but you don't want to be super attached to it. Now, once you've gathered all this information, it's time to go to step 2. Step 2 is to decide. Okay, this is the place where it's time to sort all of the information that you've gathered, muse about it, maybe try things on in your mind's eye, imagining yourself doing them. So the first thing to look at is, do you have a broad enough view of the types of marketing suggested for your type of business? In that gathering stage, if you only yielded the fact that you should post on Facebook 8 times a day, then you've got to go back and get more information. For example, for most geographically based businesses like massage therapists and hairstylists and home organizers and contractors and plumbers and many service businesses, social media may not even be in the top 10 things that you should be doing. And sometimes the top Google searches only yield the trendy results. So you're really going to want to dig deeper and make sure you have a broad range of information to sort through. Now, when you're sure that you have a range of marketing choices to consider, then sort them by what you're drawn to, what excites you, which you think are going to be easy for you, and which ones you think are more difficult. And for the ones that you are drawn to, you may need to get more information and drill down to know a little bit more about what they entail. You want to ask things about like how long before results should start showing when I use this tactic. What are the time or money costs that I need to invest to get this going? And remember that interview you listened to about how someone else got started? Did they say it took them 3 days or 3 months or 3 years, right? In the beginning of our business, we can tend to ignore that information, or anytime we're going to start something new, but you don't want to ignore that. Okay, and don't give an automatic no to the efforts that take a while to yield results, like building your email list or getting speaking engagements, and then opt for only doing the easy stuff, because you really want a mix of long-term efforts and short-terms to build your business, right? So think about it. A true pipeline in your business means you have some jobs or clients that you're working on right now, and then you have more that are behind that that are getting to know you, and they will be ready to work together in a little while. So many new people come into your world, they won't be ready to work together for like 6 to 9 months, right? They have to see you and get to know you and trust and come to like you. So it's best to get these longer timeline people coming in as soon as you can. All right, and at some point you have to decide yes or no to the efforts that you've gathered. For myself and for my clients, I use human design as a way to help make the final decisions on what to move forward with. I use it because it's a typing system that has a very accurate way of making decisions that are in alignment with your true nature. And I'm all about authenticity, and I'm also all about ease. So I want a simple decision-making system. This works for me, but you may have another way. Okay, so figure out how you've made good decisions in the past and use that same style of decision making to help you make your decisions now. And then we're going to go on to step 3, because the third step comes in and it's time to enact. Okay, so yes, figuring out how to do your marketing actually means acting it out and trying it on. This is the time to step into a few experiments and start trying on some of what you thought you wanted to say yes to. Now, warning, trying to do too much here is going to lower the chances of something working, right? Because you can only really have 3 to 5 marketing efforts happening total in your business if you are the only one doing those, okay? After that, you're going to actually need to start bringing in support people. If you're not earning enough for that, then you're going to want to make your efforts down in that 3 to 5 range, okay? So for instance, I only do 3 things: speaking engagements at events or interviews, content creation like writing books and blogs and social media posts, and building relationships. That's it. That's all the marketing that I do. Now my social media, that 4th effort, is a blend. I do the content, and then my assistant does all the formatting, posting, and pinning, and all of that stuff. So also remember that little bits of time devoted over a long period really do yield stellar results, okay? So like when I started writing my book, I thought it was going to take me like 3 months. It took me 2.5 years because I only did it a few hours per week because I was managing clients and my family during that time, and I actually had an illness I was dealing with. But looking back, I would never trade this journey, as the results for doing my first book have been spectacular, okay? So little bits of time over a long time add up. All right, everything in marketing starts as an experiment to see if you can get it to work for your business. This is true no matter how long you've been in business, because every time you enact something new, you're starting from the beginning, so you won't know if it works until you try it a few times and that you refine it to get better and better results. Okay, so this is the biggest mistake that I see businesses making. They try something once and then they abandon it as, oh, that doesn't work, right? So take the information from your gather stage and list what it's going to take to get the effort going. And then calendar the activities and really give it your best effort at enacting that thing, okay? And then here we are at the surprising 4th step, because it's one that a lot of small business owners don't really think about. And this 4th step is called refine. Okay, so this means do it over and over and over, making changes. Okay, so if you think marketing is one and done, you are not correct. Okay, so it's often your later efforts that reveal the best results. When the first round of anything, you're managing so many variables and maybe you're learning new skills. And then as you enact it each time, you have to go back and review what worked and what didn't work, okay? So maybe you need to adjust who you were aiming the effort at, or how you were delivering the message, or maybe you realize your graphics need some updating, okay? So if you're conscious when you're enacting your marketing, right? So when you're putting those experiments into place, if you're conscious, then you're learning what you need to do the same and what you need to do differently. Okay, so this is the stage where you may want to have someone review your efforts with you and help you analyze, what needs to shift in order to get better results if you don't have a knowing yourself. Okay, and remember, often the shifts are subtle in this stage, right? You might need to just adjust something by, say, only 10% to get a big shift in the return. So don't think that every refinement is going to be like, oh, I'm back to the drawing board and I have to redo it. So just don't be shy to do your marketing efforts again and again until you have some mastery. Because for most of us, marketing is not the thing that we do, right? We do some other business. So we've got to practice the marketing part. Marketing is really organic and it's more of an art than a science. There's no magic formula or we would all be using it. So instead, think of it like a garden, right? You have to plant some seeds, you have to tend to the plants with water and fertilizers, you have to weed, you have to prune, and you have to harvest, and you have to do all of it in an ongoing fashion, right? If you only dropped into your garden now and then, it really wouldn't do well. Okay, so these steps are a powerful way to move your business forward, but you have to do them in order for it to work. Okay, so take a look at the information that I just gave you and ask yourself, how can I make this work for me? Don't assume that it's not for you because, okay? So you're gonna need to personalize it to get the best results. And that's where the magic happens when you make it yours. All right, so good luck, have fun. And as always, I'd love to hear from you. Take care.